What's good, y'all? I hope everybody is sitting down. Because, honey, if your name is Cardi B, you just did the one thing that no diamond-selling, mansion-owning, chart-dominating superstar is ever supposed to do. You went back. Back to the blocks that raised you. Back in the pouring rain. With no security wall, no armored truck, no insurance policy jewelry, $50 earrings in your ears, and a smile on your face like you never left. And the internet? The internet is on its knees. Yes, the footage is real. Yes, that is really her old neighborhood. And yes, we are going to walk all the way through every single second of it. The rain dance that has the timeline in shambles. The Megan from Katseye moment that came out of absolutely nowhere. The situation with Kulture's hair that she addressed with her whole chest. The taco run. The cousins, grandma's house. And that one line she dropped near the end. That one line about anesthesia. That has everybody rewinding the clip like it's the Zapruder film. Because when she talks, she does not just talk. She testifies. Now, before we get into a single frame, let me set the table properly, because context is everything and the blogs are already fumbling it. Cardi B pulled up to her old stomping grounds. The same uptown blocks she has been shouting out since before the deal, since before the Grammy, since before any of it, and she did not come with a motorcade. She did not come with a premiere. She came like a person going home. And in 2026, when every celebrity sighting is a coordinated brand activation with 3 publicists and a step and repeat, watching Cardi B just exist in the rain like a regular girl from the block hit people in a place that no marketing budget can reach. That is why this footage is moving the way it is moving. That is why the comment sections look like family reunions. Let's start at the beginning with the rain. Because the rain is not a detail. Beloved, the rain is the whole sermon. The clip opens, and there she is. Cardi B, dancing in the rain in her old neighborhood. And I need you to understand what the camera is actually capturing. Because this is not choreography. This is not a video shoot with a rain machine and a director yelling cut. This is a woman who decided that the weather was not going to interrupt her homecoming. She is moving like the block is a stage, and the stage was always hers. And the people around her are not fans behind a barricade. They are neighbors. They are the same faces that watched her grow up, and you can hear it in their voices. That specific New York roar when one of your own comes back and does not act brand new. Now here is where the internet did what the internet does. Somebody in the crowd catches the camera's attention, and the reaction is immediate. Is that Megan from Katseye? Oh my god. And just like that, a second storyline detonates inside the first one. Because if you know, you know. Katseye is the group the girls have been obsessing over, and Megan is one of the faces that the new generation treats like royalty. So the possibility, just the possibility, that Megan from Katseye was anywhere near this moment sent the clip into a whole second stratosphere of shares. Whether it was really her or just a lookalike with impeccable timing almost does not matter at this point. Because the moment the name Katseye touched the moment Cardi B was having, the algorithm did a backflip. 2 fandoms, 1 clip, 0 warning. Somebody screamed about Hootie Fruit. The whole crowd cracked up laughing, and the energy went from heartwarming to full block party in about 4 seconds flat. And can we talk about what that says about her for a second? Because there is a certain level of star that other stars simply do not stand next to in the rain. There is a certain level of celebrity that requires climate control and a cordon perimeter. And then there is Cardi B, who pulls up to the trenches and turns a regular evening into the kind of footage that fan pages will be stitching for the next 6 months. The girls cannot manufacture this. The labels cannot schedule this. This is the currency you cannot buy, and she is out here spending it like it's nothing. But hold that thought, because the rain dance is actually not even the part that has the mothers of the internet in a chokehold. The part that has the mothers of the internet in a chokehold is what she said about her daughter. And when I tell you this woman addressed Kulture's hair with the seriousness of a press conference, I am not exaggerating. Cardi B looked dead into the camera and said, and I want you to hear the whole energy of this. She said she does not put anything fake on her daughter's hair. She said Kulture's hair came back crispy from all that sun. Crispy. Her exact energy was, the baby was outside living her best life. The sun did what the sun does. Even her hair color changed from all that swimming and all that sunshine. And now, in Cardi B's own words, we're going to restore that. Now, why did that land the way it landed? Because Cardi B just casually did something that most celebrity parents would never do on camera. She admitted her child's hair was not camera ready. She said the quiet part out loud. And instead of the internet dragging her, the internet embraced her, because every mother watching has lived some version of that exact moment. The vacation hair, the pool hair, the summer that took the edges hostage. She turned a regular mom problem into a viral moment just by refusing to pretend her life is filtered, and honestly, that is the entire brand. That has always been the entire brand. While other celebrities are curating, she is confessing, and the confession always wins. And speaking of restoring things, let's talk about where she went next, because this is the part that turned a cute viral clip into a full-blown cultural event. Straight from the heights, she announces it herself. The camera follows her out into the night, and suddenly we are not watching a celebrity sighting anymore. We are watching a home movie. Cardi B is outside with her cousins. Outside. Like, actually outside, on the block, at night, wrapped up in the kind of family chaos that no amount of fame can reorganize. Somebody is trying to get in the frame. She is laughing, the camera is wobbling, and the whole thing feels like the cookout footage your own Andy posts at 1 in the morning, except it happens to star one of the most famous women on the planet. She tells the camera they are having a great night. She says they are getting tacos. And then, and this is the detail that sent everybody over the edge, she says she is about to go to her grandma's house. You know what I'm saying? And I do know what she's saying, and you know what she's saying, and every single person who ever came from somewhere knows exactly what she's saying. Because grandma's house is not a location. Grandma's house is a headquarters. It is the one address that does not care how many records you sold. She could buy the whole block tomorrow, and she would still be pulling up to grandma's house for a plate and a hug. And the fact that she said it out loud, on camera, in the middle of a viral moment, is the reason people feel like they know her. Now let me ask y'all something, and I want you to really sit with it. When was the last time you saw a celebrity of this magnitude say the words tacos and grandma's house in the same breath, on the same night, in the same neighborhood that watched her struggle? I will wait. Because the industry has a whole playbook for how you are supposed to behave once you make it. And page 1 of that playbook says you never look back, you never go back, and you definitely never film yourself going back. The playbook says proximity to poverty is a brand risk. The playbook says nostalgia is for the poor. And she took that playbook and used it as a napkin for her tacos. She is not performing relatability, beloved. She is just related. Related to the block, related to the struggle, related to every single person watching who still goes to their own grandma's house and still eats standing up in the kitchen. But here is where the night takes a turn, because she is never just giving you one thing. She is giving you layers. And the next layer is the one that has the whole timeline debating. Because in the middle of all this sweetness, she looked at the camera and addressed the danger question head on. And she did it in the most Cardi B way imaginable. She said, and I need you to catch every word of this energy. It does not matter who pulls up on her. Because what are you going to take? She said she does not have anything on her. Then she pointed at her ears and said the earrings are fake. No jewelry on me. No nothing. These are like $50. And the crowd fell out laughing. But listen to me, because underneath the joke is one of the realest things a celebrity has said all year. She just told the whole world that when she goes home, she does not bring the vault with her. She does not wear the insurance policy. She walks through her own neighborhood the way her neighbors walk through it, in $50 earrings, with nothing to steal, because the only thing she brought to the block that night was herself. Do you understand how radical that is? We live in an era where rappers cannot post a plate of food without somebody's location getting triangulated, where chains have become evidence in court cases, where the flex and the funeral are separated by about 3 Instagram stories. The culture has been begging its biggest stars to stop making themselves targets. And here she comes, not with a lecture, not with a think piece, but with a $50 earring and a punchline, demonstrating the whole solution in real time. She is not hiding from the block, and she is not flossing on the block either. She found the third option. She just came home as a person. No jewelry, no nothing. Just callous. And the crowd knew it. You can hear it. That laughter is not just people finding her funny. And she is hilarious. The timing is immaculate. The woman could read a grocery list and get a standing ovation. That laughter is recognition. That is the sound of people who know exactly what she means, because they live it every day. The regulars on that block do not wear their rent money around their necks either. She did not visit the neighborhood like a tourist in a costume. She blended, because underneath everything, the fame, the money, the decade of dominance, she still speaks the block's first language. Now, I want to zoom out for a second, because there is a bigger conversation happening underneath this footage, and the blogs are tiptoeing around it, but we do not tiptoe over here. For years, the loudest narrative about Cardi B has been that she is too much. Too loud, too raw, too unfiltered, too Bronx, too everything. The industry spent a whole decade trying to sand her edges down, and the critics spent a whole decade predicting that the act would expire. Remember when they said she was a one-hit wonder? Remember when they said the personality would get old? Remember when they said the authenticity was a marketing strategy that would collapse the second the money came in? I remember. I remember all of it. And I need every single person who ever wrote one of those think pieces to look at this footage and explain to me which part of this is fake. Explain to me how you fake rain. Explain to me how you fake the way a neighborhood reacts to one of its own. Explain to me how you fake grandma's house. You cannot. That is the thing about authenticity that the manufactured girls will never understand. You cannot rehearse it, you cannot purchase it, and you definitely cannot retrofit it after the fame arrives. Either the block claims you or it does not, and the block is claiming Cardi B louder and louder and louder with every year that passes. The same qualities they said would end her career are the qualities that turned a rainy Tuesday into the most talked about celebrity moment of the week. That is not luck. That is not a publicist. That is a woman who understood, long before the industry did, that the thing they told her to hide was actually the whole treasure. And let's be real about the timing too, because nothing about this exists in a vacuum. We are in an era where celebrity homecomings are usually announced with a sponsor. You know the ones. The star flies in on a private jet, stands next to a branded backdrop for 11 minutes, hands out a few turkey baskets with the logo facing the cameras, and is back in the air before the local news finishes editing the package. The community gets a photo opportunity, and the celebrity gets a tax write-off, and everybody pretends it meant something. Now compare that to what we just watched. Cardi B did not bring a backdrop. She brought her cousins. She did not hand out branded merchandise. She ordered tacos. She did not stage a moment for the community. She just had a moment inside the community, and the cameras happened to catch what was already happening. That difference is everything, and the audience can smell it from a mile away. There is a reason this footage is being shared by people who do not even listen to her music. There is a reason the clip jumped out of hip-hop Twitter and landed on the timelines of grandmothers and teachers and aunties who could not name 3 of her songs. Because this is not really a music story. This is a story about roots, and roots are the most universal content there is. Everybody has a block. Everybody has a grandma's house, or the memory of one. Everybody has a version of that rain. Cardi B just happened to be famous enough that her version became everybody's version for a night. But do not get it twisted and think this was all soft focus and warm lighting, because the streets are still the streets, and she knows it better than anybody watching. That is what makes the fake earrings moment so layered. On the surface it is a joke, and it is a genuinely funny joke. One layer down, it is a safety strategy, proof that she moves smart even when she moves casual. And one layer below that, it is a statement of values. She is telling you, without telling you, that she does not need the props anymore. The jewelry was never the point. The chain was never the flex. The flex is that she can stand anywhere on this earth, from a red carpet in Paris to a rainy corner in her old neighborhood, and be the exact same size in both places. Most celebrities shrink when you take the props away. She did not shrink. She got bigger. And can we please give the people around her their flowers too? Because watch the crowd in that footage. Really watch them. Nobody is mobbing her. Nobody is grabbing at her. There is no chaos, no stampede, no security incident. The neighborhood formed a natural perimeter of respect around her, the kind you cannot hire. That is what home field advantage actually looks like. Other celebrities need 12 bodyguards to walk through a mall. Cardi B walked through her whole history with nothing but family and $50 earrings, and the block itself did the security work. You cannot buy that arrangement. You can only earn it, one summer at a time, one person at a time, over a whole lifetime of being somebody people actually knew before the world did. And I need to pause right here, because some of y'all are watching this on your lunch break thinking it is just a feel-good story, and I need you to understand what is actually happening on your screen. This is not content. This is a masterclass wearing content's clothes. Every artist in the game right now is trying to figure out how to connect with regular people without looking desperate, and the answer just danced through the rain in $50 earrings while they were all in boardrooms. Screenshot this moment. Study it. Because what she did in one unscripted evening is the thing that entire creative agencies exist to simulate. And she did it by accident, on the way to get tacos, without even trying. That is not luck. That is what it looks like when the product and the person are the exact same thing. Now let's get into the part of the night that has the timeline in a full theological debate, because every viral Cardi B moment has one line, one sentence, that separates itself from the rest of the footage and goes on to live its own independent life as a meme, a caption, and eventually a t-shirt. And this night was no exception. Because somewhere between the tacos and grandma's house, Cardi B looked at the camera and delivered what might be the most hilariously specific declaration of personal discipline ever captured on a phone camera. She said, "Let me tell you something about me. I could be drunk. I could finish surgery on anesthesia, and I still won't call and cry. Beloved, beloved, where do we even begin?" First of all, the imagery. The woman did not say I could be tired or I could be going through it. No. She built an entire medical scenario. She put herself on an operating table, under anesthesia, freshly out of surgery, and then declared that even in that condition, even at her most chemically vulnerable moment, she still would not pick up the phone and cry to anybody. That is not a sentence. That is a constitution. That is a whole governing document for how she moves through the world. And the reason it hits so hard is that everybody listening immediately knew exactly what she meant, because everybody has that one ex, that one friend, that one situation that only calls you when your defenses are down. Cardi B just looked at every late-night weak moment in human history and said, not me, not ever, not even unconscious. And notice the craft of it, because people love to act like she is accidentally funny, like the comedy just falls out of her by coincidence. Wrong. Listen to the structure. The setup is calm. Let me tell you something about me. That is a deliberate runway. Then the escalation ladder. Drunk is believable. We have all been there. Then she clears the bar and raises it to an absurd, impossible height, finishing surgery on anesthesia, and the absurdity is the joke, but the punchline is not the absurdity. The punchline is the discipline. The joke lands because the exaggeration serves a true point. She is saying my self-respect is not situational. It does not take nights off. It does not get waived for medical emergencies. Cardi B has jokes, but the jokes have architecture, and the architecture is the reason they stick to your ribs. The internet, of course, did what the internet does. Within hours, the anesthesia line was everywhere. The caption pages grabbed it. The relationship bloggers grabbed it, because let's be honest, that line is a whole sermon about not going back to the person who does not deserve you. And the soft life girls, and the healing era girls, and the do not text him girls all claimed it at the same time. That is the thing about her one-liners. They are funny on contact, but they keep working after the laugh, because buried inside the joke is always a rule for living. She is basically running a philosophy department out of her Instagram stories, and the tuition is free. Now, I know what some of y'all are typing, so let me go ahead and address it. Every single time Cardi B goes viral for being herself, here comes the pocket-watching brigade and the Think Piece committee asking if the whole thing was staged. Was the rain real? Was the moment planned? Was this a rollout? And I need y'all to hear me clearly on this. If a team of publicists could manufacture this feeling, every celebrity in Hollywood would own it by now. There are studios with 9-figure marketing budgets that cannot buy 1% of the warmth in this footage. You cannot storyboard the way that crowd sounded. You cannot hire actors to laugh like neighbors. And you absolutely cannot schedule rain. Although knowing her luck with weather and timing, the sky itself seems to be on her payroll at this point. But here is what I will concede, because we believe in fairness over here. Cardi B is not naive about cameras. She has been famous for a long time. She knows that anything she does outside can travel, and she is one of the sharpest media minds in the game whether people want to credit her for it or not. So is she aware the moment might travel? Of course she is. But awareness is not the same thing as fabrication. The girl cannot help that cameras love her. She cannot help that her normal Tuesday is more entertaining than most people's staged content. That is not a scandal, beloved. That is a gift. Some people are simply fluorescent, and she has been fluorescent since before anybody was paying her to be. Now let's talk about the fallout, because the fallout is where a viral moment becomes a cultural weather system. The fan pages ran it first, obviously. The neighborhood blogs ran it second. And then the big outlets picked it up, and this is where it gets interesting, because watch how the framing changed as the clip climbed the ladder. On the blogs pages, the story was One of Us Came Home. On the music blogs, the story was Cardi B dances in the rain. And by the time it hit the mainstream entertainment shows, the story had been flattened into celebrity does quirky thing. All the soul vacuumed out. Just another segment between a breakup rumor and a cooking demo. And that, right there, is why independent voices exist. Because the outlets will show you the clip, but they will not tell you what the clip means. They will not tell you about the $50 earrings and what they represent. They will not tell you why grandma's house matters. They definitely will not tell you that the crowd's laughter is a census of who really holds power in that neighborhood. And it is not the record labels. And can we have an honest conversation about the double standard? Because I would be doing y'all a disservice if I let this slide. When certain celebrities go back to their roots with a camera crew and a charity logo, the coverage is glowing. So generous. So grounded. Never forgot where she came from. But when Cardi B goes home with nothing but her family and her feelings, suddenly the question becomes, is it authentic or is it content? Suddenly the body language experts come out. Suddenly everybody's a detective. The exact same behavior gets 2 different headlines depending on who is behaving. And at this point the pattern is so consistent you could set your watch by it. But here is the beautiful part. She does not care. She has never cared. The approval of the committee was never the prize. And that is exactly why the people keep handing her the Real Prize, which is their attention, their loyalty, and their love. Let me also say this about the culture moment, because there is a whole other layer there that deserves respect. Cardi B did not just defend her daughter's hair. She defended her daughter's childhood. Think about what she actually said. The baby was in the sun. The baby was in the pool. The baby was outside so much her hair changed color. That is not negligence. That is a childhood. That is a kid who spent her summer being a kid instead of being a brand extension. And Cardi B said it with zero apology because she understood the assignment. The restoration comes after. The childhood comes first. There are celebrity children who have never been allowed to mess up their hair in public, who have been camera ready since the cradle. And then there is Kulture, out here crispy from the sun like every kid in every neighborhood everywhere. Which one of those sounds like a summer you would want? Exactly. Case closed. And you know what else I keep thinking about? The timing of all this. Because Cardi B is in a season right now where everything she touches turns into discourse. The music, the looks, the family, the opinions, all of it gets processed through the outrage machine on a weekly schedule. Most stars in that position go quiet. They retreat behind the PR wall, they post through the team, they become a logo instead of a person, because that is what the industry tells you to do when the heat rises. Shrink. Hide. Apologize in advance. And what does she do instead? She goes outside. In the rain. In the old neighborhood. With nothing to steal and nothing to prove. That is not just confidence, beloved. That is a whole thesis statement. She is saying, in the middle of the loudest season of her career, that the source of everything she is has always been available for inspection. You want to know who she is? She will show you. She will literally take you to the block and introduce you to her cousins. Now let's circle back to that Megan from Katseye moment, because I have been sitting on a thought about it, and I need to get it off my chest. Whether that was really Megan in that crowd, or just a case of celebrity face in the crowd wishful thinking, the reaction itself told us something important about where the culture is right now. The new generation of fans does not live in one lane anymore. They do not separate their artists into neat little boxes the way the industry does. To them, Cardi B and Katseye exist in the same universe, on the same timeline, in the same playlist, and the idea of those two worlds touching in a rainy neighborhood video felt not just possible, but inevitable. The gatekeepers spent years building walls between genres and generations and audiences, and the fans tore those walls down without asking anybody's permission. That scream in the crowd, is that Megan from Katseye, was not just excitement. It was a census of the new culture, where a Bronx legend and a global girl group can share the same 4 seconds of footage and nobody finds it strange. And honestly, if it was her, if Megan really was standing in that crowd watching Cardi B dance in the rain, that would be the most full-circle thing to happen all year. Because think about what that moment would represent. The new generation literally standing in the audience of the old neighborhood, watching a woman who walked so their whole ecosystem could run. Every girl in every group right now is benefiting from doors that artists like Cardi B kicked open with red bottoms and zero apologies. Before her, there was a whole list of things a female rapper was not supposed to do, not supposed to say, not supposed to wear, not supposed to admit. She did all of it, said all of it, wore all of it, admitted all of it, and won anyway. So if the girls are pulling up to watch her dance in the rain, they are not just fans. They are witnesses. They are watching a masterclass in the one subject no label can teach, which is how to be so completely yourself that the world has no choice but to adjust. Now, let me tell you what the so-called experts are missing while they debate whether a rainy night was a publicity stunt. They are missing the economics of it, because Cardi B did not just have a nice evening. She generated, for free, with a phone camera and some precipitation, the kind of engagement numbers that artists spend entire album budgets chasing. Every marketing department in the industry is studying this clip this week, taking notes, scheduling meetings about authenticity strategy, and they will all fail for the same reason. You cannot strategize your way into being loved by a neighborhood. That account does not accept deposits from marketing budgets. It only accepts deposits made in person, over years, before the fame, and she made those deposits. That is the whole secret. There is no shortcut, there is no agency, there is no campaign. There is only the question of who you were before anybody was watching, and Cardi B was somebody the block is still proud to claim. And this is the part where I need to talk directly to the doubters one more time, because they are in the comments already. I can feel them warming up their keyboards. They are going to say it is just a video. They are going to say we are reading too much into it, that a celebrity danced in the rain, and it does not mean anything. And to them I say, you are right, and you are completely wrong. You are right that it is just a video the same way the Zapruder film is just some footage. Meaning is not manufactured by the camera. Meaning is assigned by the response. And the response, the millions of views, the family reunion comment sections, the mothers claiming the culture moment, the girls claiming the anesthesia line, the whole internet stopping its scroll to watch one woman get rained on. That response is the story. The people have voted, and the vote was not close. Now bring it all the way back home with me. because we have been on a journey tonight, and I want to land this plane exactly where we started. We started with a question hiding inside a statement. If your name is Cardi B, you just did the one thing a superstar is never supposed to do. And now, after the rain, after the tacos, after grandma's house, after the $50 earrings and the crispy summer hair and the anesthesia constitution, we can finally say out loud what the footage was really showing us. The thing she was never supposed to do was not going back to the block. The thing she was never supposed to do was prove that the block never left her. That is the actual scandal here. In an industry built on reinvention, on erasure, on the sacred tradition of pretending you were always destined for marble floors, Cardi B stood in the rain and confirmed the one thing they never wanted printed. The girl from the neighborhood is not a character she played. She is the whole person. Everything else, the fame, the fashion, the charts, that is the costume. The woman in the rain is the original. And that is why this moment is bigger than a viral clip, and I do not care how that sounds. Because every single week, we watch celebrities try to buy their way back into relatability. They do the fast food photo shoot. They do the gas station pap walk. They do the down-to-earth interview in a kitchen that costs more than your house. And the public, God bless the public, pretends to believe it for about 48 hours before moving on. Then Cardi B comes along with no crew and no lighting and no plan and wrecks the entire economy of fake humility just by going home. She did not remind people where she came from. She reminded people what it looks like when somebody never actually left. There is a difference, and the difference is everything. And the difference is why her name travels further wet in the rain than most people's names travel on a billboard. So let's go ahead and issue the verdict, because y'all know we do not leave without one. The think pieces said the authenticity would expire. It got stronger. The critics said the personality would get old. It got richer. The industry said she would have to become somebody else to survive at the top. She survived at the top as exactly who she was. And then she walked that survival back through the very streets that built it, in the rain, with her cousins, on the way to grandma's house. Every single prophecy of her downfall just got rained on in high definition. The scoreboard does not lie, the timeline does not lie, and that crowd on that block definitely does not lie. Cardi B is not the story of a star who came back to visit her roots. She is the story of roots so deep that the whole tree stays standing no matter how hard the weather gets. But hold on, because before we get out of here, I have questions, and these are the questions that are going to determine what we talk about next. First question, the Megan from Katseye sighting, real or wishful thinking? Because if somebody can confirm that girl was actually in that crowd, we have a whole second video to make about what it means when the new generation pulls up on the legends, and I will make it. I do not care, I will clear my whole schedule. Second question, that line about surgery and anesthesia, be honest with me right now, was that just comedy, or was that a message aimed at somebody specific? Because you and I both know Cardi B does not waste a bar, not in a verse and not on a sidewalk, and the specificity of that scenario has my investigative senses tingling. She said what she said, but why did she say it now? Third question, and this is the one that really matters. Kulture's hair restoration journey. Are we getting the routine? Are we getting the products? Because half the mothers watching this just felt seen on a spiritual level, and if she drops a wash day video, the internet might actually break in half for real this time. And that is exactly why this story is not over, not even close. Because if there is one thing we have learned from a decade of watching this woman, it is that Cardi B never leaves a moment alone. She will address it, she will joke about it, she will post about it at 3 in the morning with no warning, and when she does, we will be right here breaking it down piece by piece. So if you want to be in the room when the follow-up drops, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Turn the notifications all the way on, not the default ones, the loud ones. And get in those comments, because I read every single one and the conversation down there is half the show. Tell me your verdict. Was this the realest celebrity moment of the year, or was the whole thing a perfectly executed rollout hiding in plain sight? There is no wrong answer, but there is a right answer, and I want to see y'all fight about it respectfully in the comments like the family we are. And while you're down there, tell me this too. When was the last time you went back to your own block? Your own grandma's house? Your own rain? Because I have a feeling that half the reason this footage hit the way it hit is that it reminded everybody of somewhere they have been meaning to go back to. That is the magic trick nobody is talking about. Cardi B did not just go home. She made millions of people homesick at the same time. You cannot plan that. You cannot buy that. You can only be that. So that is the story. The rain was real. The block was real. The earrings were fake, $50, no jewelry, no nothing. And somehow that was the most expensive statement of the year. The tacos were ordered. Grandma's house was visited. The hair will be restored. The line about anesthesia will be on t-shirts by Friday. And the girl they said would never last just reminded everybody, without saying a single serious word, exactly why she has lasted longer than every prediction, every think piece, and every doubt they ever threw at her. She came from somewhere. She never forgot it. And on a rainy night in her old neighborhood, with the whole world watching a shaky phone video, Cardi B proved that going home is not a step back. It is the whole flex. It always was. I love y'all down. Stay hydrated, stay out the rain unless you're dancing in it. And I will see you on the next one. Because baby, if she posts again tonight, so do I.